Welcome all. So now we are continuing our lecture. We are in the part of unit number 5. We already discussed about computer-aided process planning, production planning related thing, and also production planning and control. Also we have discussed. Under that, activities of production planning and control, we were discussing. So under that, production planning and control, these are numerous activities. The flow chart we discussed in our last video. This video will discuss about each and every component of production planning and control. Okay, so the first prime most thing under production planning and control flowchart is the aggregate planning. Okay, aggregate planning. We are going to discuss about aggregate planning. What is meant by aggregate planning? What are the functions and all? We'll discuss in this video. So this to just to recollect what are the activities in our production planning and control. Okay, so this is what we discussed in our last video. It's primarily based on factory. From factory, customer need is very important. Customer need will be gathered by sales and marketing team separately. Okay, then rest of the things like sales and marketing team will contact aggregate production planning. Okay, so in this now we'll discuss about what is going to be aggregate production planning. Okay. Aggregate production planning is the process of developing, analyzing, and maintaining a preliminary, approximate schedule of the overall operation of an organization. So it's all about develop, analyze, and maintain preliminary and approximate schedule. So generally a schedule. So we are going to make a new schedule, but considering overall operation of an organization. Okay, this is what all about aggregate planning. It's aggregate planning consider about overall operation. What are all the operation inside the one particular industry or organization needs to be planned here. It's not necessary like final plan. It could be a preliminary preliminary process plan or planning is fine. Okay, and also planning includes scheduling also approximate schedule. It's not exactly we have to follow or not. It's like a top level planning. Okay, it's not about only inside one machine cell planning. It is top level planning is aggregate production planning. Okay. So the aggregate production plan generally contains target sales forecast, production level, inventory levels, and customer backlogs. Okay, so these are all the things will be there inside your aggregate plan. What are all the things? Sales forecast, production levels, inventory levels, and the customer backlogs. Okay. Then next topic, next one is about aggregate planning is an attempt to balance capacity and demand. So capacity and demand is what for we have to analyze the capacity and demand in order to minimize the cost of making. Okay, so capacity and demand is totally different. Demand is what we need, capacity what we have. So demand and capacity we have to discuss together so that only we could able to minimize the cost of making. Okay, so this is also one of the part of aggregate production planning. Okay, resource. Then this particularly the aggregate production planning, as I said, it's a top level decision discussion we have to do in the top level. So it will discuss about total number of workers. So that's why it is highlighted here is total number of workers, hours of machine time, and tons of raw materials required. Okay, it will be. It is not going to tell one particular machine how much raw material is needed or how much hour this particular machine needs to run so that we can able to produce the product. Nothing. It won't discuss about that. It will tell overall time required for machining. Maybe that machine can do multiple operations or multiple components, but how much machining time required in particular machine overall, not only focused on one product, whole. So one machine, how long it will run. Like similarly, you will be having numerous machine in that machine, in the machine shop or production environment, right? So overall time and how much total amount of raw material. It won't care about individual part. Okay, with example I will explain in the next slide. So it generally it will consider total number of workers, hours of machining time required, and tons of raw materials required. This is what all about aggregate production planning. So again, I refresh it. Aggregate planning is first stage in your activities. They will be got communication from the sales and marketing team, and also R&D team, like a product design team also will have a word with them or a communication with them. So based on their R&D team, like a product design team, and also sales and marketing team, they will be giving the need of the customer, because they are the voice of the customer, right? So with these two of them data, these guys, aggregate production planning team, will plan overall schedule for the particular organization, targeting what is needed for the customers. Okay, so what is the capacity needed, what is the demand from the customer, everything will be. And also they plan for minimizing, they mainly plan for minimizing the cost. Okay, and as I said, total number only they will focus. Just for example, I'm going to explain about aggregate production planning with the example. First, here you see, aggregate planning does not distinguish among sizes, colors, features, and so forth. So the aggregate production planning doesn't care about whether individual component having different features in that, or different color we are going to make the particular component, or in different sizes we are going to make it. It won't care. Okay, for example, if I make this particular mouse, whether this mouse in gray color or pink color or blue color, whatever it may be, it doesn't care about that inside the aggregate planning. Similarly, the size and what are the features. This is wireless mouse or wired type mouse, a Bluetooth mouse or something like that is there, right? So this one doesn't care inside the aggregate planning. It will consider total number of mouse we are going to make. Similar example I have discussed here is in automobile manufacturing, aggregate planning would not consider total number of cars planned for, not the individual models, colors option. If you see the manufacturing, automobile manufacturer, they have lots of varieties of cars. Let's take any one example, like a Maruti, Suzuki, or Ford, if you would name it. Each model they release in different number. For example, Tata XUV. If you XUV, consider XUV 100, 200, 500 is there in the, okay. So, and also color wise it varies. Okay, inside one particular model XUV 500 itself, there are lots of options available. Okay, whether with auto gear, without auto gear, and with full safety, enhanced safety feature, limited safety features, like that. Lots of options also there in particular model, and colors also. So it won't, that is there in reality. But in terms of aggregated production planning, they don't care about colors, options, or models available. Totally, how many number of car they are going to make in particular organization, they will decide. Similarly, if mobile manufacturing company, how many number of mobile going to be manufactured in particular organization for this period will be discussed in aggregated production planning. They don't care about number of models, number of colors, with the options are there or not, they don't care. So this is what all about aggregate production planning. So simple example, or just to show in terms of number. So planning the production output levels for major product lines, this comes under aggregate production planning. This is, as I mentioned, high level corporate planning activity. Okay, it's a high level corporate planning activity, must be considered with the plans of the sales and marketing department. Based on the PPC activity flowchart, we could understand that they have to discuss and plan with the sales and marketing department, because they are the voice of the customer. So as I said, like it is like a production planning for the 10 weeks they have given. Week 1, 2, 3, up to 10 week they have given. And here model M and N model and P model. So in M model, they have 200 components. Needs to be manufactured in week 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. And N model also. P model doesn't need first 1 to 6th week. Then it will be produced in 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Okay. So this is like a, there might be a possibilities. In P model, there will be lots of options, like a P1, P2, P3, P4 will be there. And also similarly in N model, they may be having a N1, N2, N3, N4, M1, M2, M3, M4. So that won't be considered here. It will be cumulative, like a collection of all M model will be given as a number. That is what aggregate production planning. Okay. Then in that there is a strategies available in aggregate production planning. So there are two strategies. One is level strategies. Another one is the chase strategy. Okay. So first one. So what is meant by level strategy is to produce an aggregate plan that maintains a steady production rate and or a steady employment level. So two things is there in level strategy. One is maintain steady production rate and another one is maintain steady employment level. These two needs to be maintained. The level needs to be maintained in this particular aggregate production planning. Okay. So what is there in that maintaining steady production rate? What is there in maintaining steady production level? What is the problem in that? Nothing, right? No, there is a problem. Maintaining steady production rate is not at all easy. It's all about depends on the demands. Okay, what is the demand in the particular society? Sometimes the demand may go up. Sometimes the demand may go down. It's maybe like once you go for like car, maybe at the closer time they used to sell more, but closer of the academic year or financial before, when compared to the start of the year, that time they no need to produce too much things and sell it, right? Similarly, some other components like uh, winter clothes, if you take the name itself tells it's needed only for winter, right? So that one they won't be producing in n number in summer itself, right? Maybe they produce and keep it, but selling time accordingly they plan. Okay, so steady production rate they maintain in the sense demand may go up or down, fluctuation will be there. In order, even though to take care of that fluctuation, like whether if it is increasing or decreasing, they will be maintaining the production rate in the particular industry. That is one thing comes under the level of strategy. Another one, steady employment level. Steady employment level in the sense about operators, laborers, technicians who is working inside the particular organization. This is also one of the primary parameter we have to think. For example, if demand increases and we need employees in the sense recruiting new. And if we don't have any demand sending this employees out, is no. In this condition, they maintain equal number of employment, whether they have work or not. What they plan is during less demand time, they produce less inside the company, but they give work equally to the all the employees inside the company. Okay, this is what first stage level strategy. But in terms of second one, under this chase strategy, mostly I feel like you guys, everybody understand by when I'm telling about that, it's all about in IT company. Okay, in IT companies, so matching demand and capacity period by period. So it implies that matching demand and capacity period by every period by period, they will be matching the demand and what is the capacity we have. This is what a chase strategy is all about. So what is in that? What is different between level strategy and chase strategy is here in level strategy, they maintain steady production rate and steady employment level. But in this case, they don't care about chase strategy. They won't care about the steady production rate or steady employment level. They care about demand. Okay, they only care about the demand and what is the capacity based on time to time. Okay, in this could result in considerable amount of hiring new people. They will recruit new people. Suddenly, if demand goes up, for example, suddenly demand gone down, like what is the present situation is going on, Corona, or during Y2K problem, maybe that time the firing of people will be, or laying off employees will be more in terms of IT companies. And even a few months before in manufacturing automobile companies also felt the same. They used to send temporary employees to home, right? It's also one of the chase strategy they maintain under the aggregate production planning, since it's a top level and insecure and unhappy. So it will create what? It's a panic between the among the employees who is working there, and inventory also increases. Carrying cost also increases. Problems will be there. Proper utilization of a plant and layout could be disturbed. Okay, so this is the difference between level of strategy and chase strategies. Which one is better? We according to the company, they make it. Okay, Level strategy is maintaining steady production rate, steady employment, whether demand increase or decrease according to that they change the production rate and also they give the works to the employees equally. But in terms of chase strategy, suddenly demand and capacity demand increases, then they increases, they recruit new employees, they involve new operators, new machines in that. If demand decreases, they send or fire or lay off few already who is working in the company, and also they stop the whole production also. This is all about chase strategy. So you got to understand what is meant by aggregate and chase strategy. Okay. So next topic will be master production schedule. What is meant by master production schedule? So this is where it comes from. So this is coming under your aggregate production planning. Okay. So from this diagram, we could understand that from the aggregate planning, this is derived. Then what are the other things also joined with the master production schedule? Sales and marketing team also joined. Then other than that, capacity planning also connected. Okay. So this is general about the master production schedule. So what is that master production schedule? We'll see it now. Okay. What is master production schedule? Master scheduling follows aggregate planning. As I explained, it follows aggregate planning. Okay. It expresses the overall plans in terms of specific end items or models that can be assigned priorities. Okay. So aggregate planning is all about overall plan of the particular organization. But master production schedule is all about from the overall plan, because it's follows the aggregate planning, right? It creates separation, okay, or create divisions or subclasses, specific items like models. Okay, so it expresses overall plans in terms of specific end items or models that can be assigned priorities. Okay, it is useful to plan for the material and capacity requirement. In the sense, the aggregate production planning cannot be easily useful for planning for material and capacity. It will give overall level. Okay, but how much needed for individual model? As I said, if I go for a particular mobile model, so what is the particular mobile? How much material is needed for the mobile? If you take like iPhone having lots of models. Samsung, if you take it, lots of model. In that, each model need particular material. Okay, particular fabrication method, whether we have or not. For that, we have to plan it, right? For that, this master production schedule is needed. Similarly, automobile example which I discussed, like a previous example, we consider the automobile. In that, we have the same car, but color wise different, options available is different, model wise different, right? According to the model, according to the options, there will be different capacity needed, materials needed, right? So in order to know what is the model, what material needed for this particular model can be understandable by this particular master production schedule. But aggregate planning won't give those details. Aggregate planning will be telling number of cars to be manufactured, like 1,000 cars needs to be manufactured from this organization, or 10,000 or 1 million cars. But it won't tell this model car needed this much, this many number of colors needed. It won't tell. But master production schedule will tell you that how many number of cars in blue color or yellow color or with automatic gearing system or safety safety belts, number of safety belts, or multiple gears or rear camera available or not, like that. Individually they will be splitting out. Okay, based on that only they can able to plan what are all the material they need, and also what is the capacity required for making those components, right? This can be understandable only in the master production schedule. Hope everybody clear about it, right? Master production schedule about understanding each and every subclasses which is there in the overall production. Okay, then that is what it is again mentioned here. Specific schedule of individual products and models that is derived from the aggregate production planning. Okay, aggregate production planning is the bigger one. Under that, specific schedule of individual products and models are derived. Okay, it is a list of products to be manufactured. Then also when we have to manufacture this particular model, we should know that, and what quantity we are going to make it. We should know that. This can be understandable from the master production schedule. Okay. So this is the same graph, same table I discussed in that aggregate planning. This is the aggregate planning. Same thing here. See, this is the master production schedule table. Same week 1 to week 10, but model M, as I said, model M is 200 here. But in here, model M having two models, M3 and M4. So M3 and M4 is split like 120 and 80. If you combine together 120 and 80, it is coming under 200, right? So this is what your M model. M model in terms of aggregate planning, it will be telling only 200 model I need. That's it. So in 200 model, you don't know what is a subclasses available in aggregate planning. But in terms of master production schedule, you will be knowing about under M model, M3 also there, M4 also there. So what is the need of this M3, M4? Because it's a two different model, but with this only we could able to understand that how much capacity or how much material needed to make this particular M3 model or particular M4 model. Okay. Similarly, for each and everything, like a P model, maybe having it's P1 and P2. This they mention like a P model, it's a 70 here, but here in P1 not necessary. But in terms of 8th week, 130 product needs to be fabricated based on aggregate planning in P model. But in week that one has a two model, P1 and P2, 50 in from P1 and 80 in P2. Okay, this is the difference between master production schedule. Okay, so just to tell that your master production schedule includes three categories of item. What are all the three items? So here is the three category of item. One, firm customer orders. So customer here connected with the sales and marketing, right? So they will be telling that firm customer orders. What is the customer order needed? Okay, that one. And forecast demand. What is the demand for our product? Also will be from the marketing team. They forecast it. Sales and forecast marketing team will be forecast that and tell inform to that. And whether we have parts available, capacity planning is available or not, will be discussed in our master production schedule. Okay. The next topic will be material requirement planning. So before we go, just I will wind up that previous two topics. One is aggregate planning. Aggregate planning is the top level management plan. They will tell the overall production level for the particular organization. Okay. It won't talk about individual subclasses or models. Total numbers only it will tell. Total number of workers needed, how many number of hours machine should run, how much raw material needed, everything will be discussed in terms of aggregate production planning. There it won't discuss about it, colors or models or options, they won't discuss. It won't distinguish also, it will just tell the number, total number. And with that table, we explain. Under that, you have two types of strategies. One is level strategy and chase strategy. Level strategy discuss about steady production rate and steady employment level, where it won't affect any laborers also or employees also. So according to that fluctuation in the demand, like increase or decrease, accordingly they make the production flexibly. Like if demand increases, they maintain that. When demand decreases also, they give less work to the employees so that they continue to do some work. Okay, so this is the plan. But in terms of chase strategy, it mainly focuses on demand and what is the capacity based on time to time. If demand is increasing too much, they hire new people or buy new materials or buy new machines. But if the demand is low, they fire or lay off some employees from that, or shut down some factories. So this will create some panic. Okay, so this is the two types of strategy we discussed. And another topic is master production schedule. It follows the aggregate production planning, and it discusses about specific item, specific model. Based on the specific item, specific model only, we could be able to plan material, how much material we need, and how much capacity required. Okay, so these are all the things. And with that thing, and other thing which is connected with master production schedule, we have discussed like a sales orders, sales forecast also, and spare parts required. Okay, this is all about master production schedule. Okay, so next topic will be material requirement planning. what is meant by material requirement planning. There are two, simply we can call it as a MRP. So one is material requirement planning. The newer version is MRP2, that is manufacturing resource planning. Okay, we'll see about that in the next video. Okay, thank you.